What's going on, guys? Live yet again. What to talk about today? What to talk about today? Lots happened in the last week, huh? Let's see. Got some playing objectives. Let's speak on Super Bowl, wrestling. What's up, girl? And anything the hell y'all want to talk about? Shows off the fucking cuff, so wherever it steers, it steers. We'll see how it goes today, right? All right, let's see. Where to go? Where to go? Let's talk about what's going on. That's exactly what I was about to talk about. Thank you. So appreciate you. So man, I was listening to Usher on lunch break, but now I see a live stream canvas. Well, I'm about to talk about Usher. Then I was gonna pivot into other shit. Usher was on the NFL yesterday. First halftime show. Good for him. Good for him. And I saw this article, and it was about Gen Xers and millennials. You got these millennials like, I don't know, I guess claiming Usher, which I guess is fair. I mean, the guy's been pretty relevant throughout his whole life, right? But I would think he's more of a Gen X. Gen X should be able to claim him way more than a millennial. I mean, while millennials were in elementary, Gen Xers were bobbing out to him in clubs, for crying out loud, right? So yeah, millennials, the Gen Xers claim Usher. It wasn't a bad show. Couple of missteps. Nobody's perfect. It's live. I didn't really care for Keys too much on it, but hey, she's pinnacle, right? See, yeah, yesterday brought back memories when my fave come right. Exactly. And you know, like I said, that's why I believe he's more of a Gen X guy, because people were bobbing to him in the clubs in '97 versus being a kid. But either way, hey, he's for the people, right? Wasn't the best halftime show, and it wasn't the least halftime show, I think, for what he had and what he did. I think it was great. I think he used his library pretty good. He's a great artist. He has great shit going on. Nostalgia wise, for me, football, man, I haven't really focused on I haven't focused on sports since I joined. There used to be an era back in '90. I could tell you at least 2 to 5 people on every team, almost on every sport, including hockey. I can't tell you shit now. I lost touch with it. Sports doesn't interest me at all. The only reason why the Super Bowl was on was because of the commercials, to be real with you, and the halftime show. That's it. I don't really care for the football much at all. I loved it, but it had too many songs, right? Well, yeah, I mean, he's got to do his melody because everybody wants a little bit of something. Exactly. He's hard to claim, Gen X all the way. And with that note, with for football, hey, Taylor Swift, man, great lady, I'm sure, but god damn, it's not her fault, but the media needs to stop. I think they're making her more of a hated girl than a liked girl, because I sure as hell did not pay to see fucking Taylor Swift. I mean, I get it if she was like Michael Jackson, somebody for the fucking people, saving fucking Africa and we are the world and heal the world and shit like that. All fucking day. But Taylor fucking Swift, teeny bopper, just like one of my boys was telling me, she makes like mall music. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure she's a great writer. I just don't listen to her shit at all. She's not influential to me, but I'm sure she's influential to this generation. That's why Outkast never done a Super Bowl, because they wanted to play their full songs. You got to, man. You can't just be like, "I'm sorry, Miss Jackson," ooh, and then cut it. You know? Yeah. I let my man claim it. He said mall music. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Straight up mall music, man. But yeah, too much focus. One of my guys, he counted how many times they probably showed her, which was like 7 times. Right here, this man. And dude, I was saying to him, that had to have been like 800 grand, like of television spot, advertisement for her. Ridiculous. Yeah, every $1 million commercial for a movie trailer told you to go see the rest of the trailer. Yeah, that was funny. Like, what's his name? God damn it, I got a brain fart. But there was a commercial about teasers, just doing just that. Twisters. I saw that shit, or I saw the commercial or the poster for it. All right, pivoting. Wrestling. Man, it's been ages since I paid attention to wrestling. Ages. And once again, that's the invite. But this year, it's got me highly interested. This whole Cody Rhodes saga. That's why I barely watch anything anymore. It's like THX. Yeah. And I didn't have a clue where they're fucking going with this shit because Cody won the Royal Rumble. What, back to back? First time since Steve Austin. And then they had it so that he wasn't going to pick Roman Reigns. Like, what the fuck? But then you got to make it make sense because he's a Raw guy. But either way, The Rock showed up and he was pretty much booed. It didn't make no fucking sense for The Rock to show up to me, but I heard real world wise, it had everything to do with McMahon. And I think rumor is Rock has like a stake in the company that fucks with WWE. But I will give it to him. I have no fucking clue where they're going with it. It's kind of jumbled. But the drama, when they brought back heel Rock, I mean, because they haven't booed Rock since like late 90s, right? And they brought back the heel Rock. I'm all for it. He doesn't really have an argument, though, if you were to look at it. I mean, they did talk on the man's father, and he did it right back. So, but either way, I like where they're going with it. For the first time in ever, I'm going to purchase WrestleMania. And from what I've seen, it's going to be a 2-day event. Has it ever been 2 days? I don't know. Turn this shit down. Got the ring going. All right. Then I saw this cool article online. And I thought it would be pretty cool to cover. Let's see here. See if this shit brings you back any memories. My adult children didn't believe me. 26 normal practices and routines from the past that have Gen Zers confused, perplexed, and puzzled. So, number one, when the internet first came out, you couldn't talk on the phone and be online at the same time. Man, that shit was annoying. Had one phone line, obviously, and my sister loved to talk to boys for like God knows how long. And of course, I want to be on the internet for God knows how long. So it was always a constant fight. Luckily, since my parents didn't care for her talking to boys, I won 90% of the time. Yeah. It's always going to do that. I got to do something about that. I'm going to do that whole blurry background thing later on when I get my, what do you call it? Get everything adjusted. Let's see here. Two, going to get gas was more of an experience. When you went to the gas station, attendants would put the gas in your car, clean your windshields, and check your oil. After that, you just paid them through your car window. You never had to get out of your car. Now, there's a state that just got rid of that law. They made it a law where you could not fill up your own gas. I think it was why do I want to say Idaho? But they just got rid of it where you could not fill up your own gas. But yeah, man, that was an experience. And then for the longest time, you had self-serve or full service gas stations. This shit, this it's just amazing how quick the world has changed so fast. Smoking on airplanes. For the youngins out there, you can see what was it called? Police Academy, and one of the scenes they were smoking. But yeah, smoking and non-smoking. You had a smoking section and a non-smoking section on the airplanes. Ridiculous. Couldn't imagine now. But back then, that was a normal thing. Oh man. AOL, Net Zero, Prodigy, CompuServe, Earthlink. Yeah, AOL chats were ridiculous. We used to make our own Christmas or birthday wish list from looking in the store catalogs like Sears. You could actually order and pay things via snail mail, and it was safe to do. Absolutely. Boy was mentioning Montgomery Ward and Sears. Cool fact about Sears, and I actually educated my neighbor because he's living in an old family house that used to be part of the family estate. And in a moment, my drink. And he was saying, yeah, I noticed this house was bought through Sears. I said, yeah, because that's a thing. Because Sears was in the housing market. And because of catalogs, that's how a lot of Happy Black History Month, right? Learn something new. How a lot of blacks bought their clothing or even all the way up to homes, because you could buy it through them without having the discrimination of doing it in person. And in that way, it was not in front of people and this and that, and it got them a lot better deals. So thanks to Sears, a lot of blacks were able to buy good to do homes that weren't just sloppy, but name brand and shit. Yeah, Sears used to do homes. Number 5, this wasn't that long ago, but there used to be no security screenings in the airport. 9/11. That's it, man. 9/11 did it. You would literally just walk your butt to the airplane. No checks were needed. It was a whole different world. You could show up literally minutes before your craft took off and just book it. Now, if you don't show up at least 3 hours, you screwed yourself, depending on how busy it gets. Let's see here. Yep. New Jersey, I had to let them fill my tank. I couldn't get out and do it myself. That's crazy. It's like that in Oregon too. Wow. Montgomery Ward Christmas catalog. Hell yeah. Another one was Kool-Aid. I don't know if y'all remember, but in the grocery stores, there was this massive Kool-Aid displays, like almost like a treehouse display. And you had a thick old Kool-Aid catalog, and you can get anything from Kool-Aid points. I remember once, because my mother, she worked at the hospital, and she came home with big, massive size lawn trash bags. And we took hours, like 5 hours, and she took them and she dumped it all on the floor, and we sorted out every single one of them. And that year, I got every single one of my birthday presents through Kool-Aid points. I got a full-blown 5-speed bike, remote control, car, and not them cheap remote control cars. I mean, we're talking like the 90s where the car could go left and right and back up left and right. Man, that was it, because I don't know about y'all, but how many could only get the ones that could turn when they reverse? But I had the real deal, man. All thanks to Kool-Aid points. Number 6, whenever you wanted to download something online, you have to basically threaten everyone in the house with their lives if they pick up the phone during the amount of download time it took. It would take hours to download a game or an image. And if someone used the phone, the download would start over from the beginning. Plus, in the mid 90s, you have to pay by the hour. Absolutely true. I've been on the internet since '88. Don't remember paying by the hour, but I didn't pay the bills. But I do know that, yeah, actually I do, because I remember I could only stay on a couple hours before they would charge. Because it wasn't the phone companies that got you by the hour, it was the internet company that would bill you for the time of service. You have to pay by the hour. Yeah, that's right. The early days of Prodigy and AOL. That's my memory, at least. My 20-year-old son liked hearing this one. When driving in unfamiliar territory, you had to get directions by either stopping at the gas station and asking an attendant or buying maps or an atlas. How many of y'all can read a map? You have to like plot out your day or really know your shit on where to go. Traveling to a different state, you have it all marked out. You have to get your bearings by stopping at your actual stops for your landmarks, and then re-get your bearings before you took off again. You couldn't just drive straight on. Ain't no way. Fun fact, McDonald's is a real estate company. Food is a side gig. No shit. I believe it. You could bring outside food to the airport onto the airplane. You still can. You just can't bring outside open drinks onto the airplane. There's a big misconception with that, apparently, that I read about that. There's a lot of people think that they have to buy at the food terminal. Seatbelts weren't taken serious by most people until the 90s. Was it MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, changed the game. I remember nobody wore a seatbelt, man. You get back in your grandfather's truck, ride on the back. Now your ass go to jail. Let your kids do something stupid like that. Yeah, I don't remember having to wear a seatbelt until the 90s. And then basically you were just shunned, or you would shun your peers or your parents if they didn't want to wear a seatbelt. I know when I got home, I ain't driving until you put on that seatbelt. But that was not a thing. Hell, I don't even know if a lot of those old school cars even had them. Actually, no, they don't, because I remember doing ID checks and like the 60, like early 60s, mid 70 cars would come through and they didn't have it, but they were like wavered since they were older vehicles. There were ashtrays everywhere: homes, businesses, restaurants, hospitals, malls, designated areas in schools, and more. Even if you didn't smoke, it was normal to have ashtrays available for your guests in the house, like on the coffee table or in the kitchen. Crazy what now the cultural differences with smoking, how normal and accepted it was. Do it now, man. It's shameful. But as I don't disagree with it as far as you should be smoking now that we know the facts. It stinks. It's gross. I shouldn't have to be subject to it. Seeing parents smoke cigarettes and the windows are up and they got little kids in there. Killing them kids, man. My boss blew my young coworker's mind the other day when she explained that there's a special kind of black paper that you can put between two regular pieces of paper, and when you write on top of the page, it shows up on the bottom of the page. Shit, do they even have those anymore? For normal shit, I know the older government stuff did carbon paper, transfer paper. It's how you have to make your actual copies. If you were, or if you do receipts, they got the carbon paper in between. Shit, checkbooks, modern checkbooks. Do they even have those now? Yeah. Gen Z will never experience blowing into a cartridge. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna be that guy though. Don't get me wrong. I learned something about that. So it seems, from my experience, it has everything to do with the contact at the end. But by blowing into it, which was weird because I've seen a professional do it, and he would blow. But apparently the word is, which makes sense, right? Blowing into it, spit, which would actually corrode it and make it worse. You weren't supposed to blow. It had everything to do with the contact. But I still do it. Fuck it. It's magic, right? Don't ask why or how it works. It just works. People get pissed when I do that. Exactly. Yeah, technically you're not supposed to, but it's one of those old school tradition magic. I still believe in it, damn it. It was just like I gotta watch my words. Let's see here. When I was doing a certain job, the only way you could reset a feature was by doing legitimately certain things on the ground in order to reset what we had to do. But it started getting into like a ritual where you would do certain amount of steps and hug the item and all this other crap, and that way the sensor worked. But whatever. Long story short, the way we ended up doing it always seemed to work 100%. But when you would do it by the regulations, it never seemed to work. What a coincidence, right? And here we go. Drunk driving wasn't a serious crime until a group of moms got together and advocated MADD. Exactly. It's interesting about these groups is because they work, but all groups have an agenda because Mothers Against Drunk Driving, in the end, right? There's an extreme to every action that does good. Of course you want drunk driving to be taken serious and et cetera, et cetera. But what's their end goal, right? The end goal would be to stop drunk driving. Well, how do you stop drunk driving? Go after alcohol, right? Prohibition. So even though a lot of these groups seem cool at first, eventually if everybody gets their way, it's going to be such an extreme that you're not going to tolerate it. I've heard that too. I've even used a Q-tip. Oof. Yeah, that'll do something. All right. Mothers of America. Right. Unite. There was a room called the coal room in the basement of our house. We shove a coal from that room into a coal furnace whenever we needed to heat up our house up. The coal was delivered by a truck that had a coal chute, which was inserted through a basement window in the coal room. Damn. I guess it'll be kind of like that. What's that movie? Home Alone. That shit down at the bottom. I've had most old school heating would be shit. It wasn't heating. Yeah, it's like the kerosene gasoline stove in the middle of the house. I remember you had to like press a little primer thing and now get it up and take toilet paper and throw it in there and it'll light up. And then the vent to the upstairs was literally no vent. It would just shoot up. The heat would just shoot up. I would go upstairs and while the heat comes up, I'll take like a piece of paper and let it fly over the heat. And then in that same home, in order to cook, we had to. What's up, girl? We had to chop wood, and that was used for our kitchen. How you doing?
Hi. Good morning.
Hey.
Wait, what are you drinking?
I went to what was it? A restaurant. It's a growler, some amber alcohol, fruity drink. Early
what time is it where you're at?
Just turned 150.
That's some retired veteran shit right there.
I don't gotta pick up nobody. Kiddos come home from school. I got a couple hours before they come home. My oldest will come home probably like next 30 minutes.
I decided I'd come on and hang out for a minute because I gotta finish writing like an 11-page paper.
Damn.
10-page paper, and then 3 separate lesson plan things. I'm gonna change my major though.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my major to social media.
Okay.
Something in social media. I haven't figured it out yet, but there's like 4 different things I want to do.
That's what's up. Yeah, I'm just having a good old board stream. See where this shit goes. But a lot of this nostalgia shit was on my head. And I was like, man, you know what? I want to talk about it. I think it's good shit.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I've seen petroleum trucks fill up canisters south of my house. Yeah, that's old school right there, man. Okay, lunch break over. Catch the rest of the stream later. All right, brother. Appreciate you coming by.
You remember metal slides?
Metal slides.
Like at parks? Like we used to have metal slides.
Suckers would. Don't let it be like 100 degrees out there. Your skin would melt off.
Yeah.
Man.
So literally go down that slide and the back of your legs are missing.
Yeah. Oh, man. Trying to get all rusty and shit. The really old ones. But yeah. Man. You brought some. You know what else? My son never got to experience. Hell, I can't even remember that damn thing's called. Like the wheelbarrow shit. You spin the wheel. Kids will be outside spinning that wheel and you hold on for fucking dear life.
Oh yeah.
What's that shit called?
Wait, they don't do that anymore. Like
have you seen one?
Exist? No,
I haven't seen one. I don't even think my son even knows what they're called or where they are.
I guess I haven't.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it though. If kids had that now, the injuries. Because you have to either get to the center or you be. I mean, them kids can spin it. And hold on for dear life and fly off. A lot of injuries of that shit. Oh, yeah.
I knew a kid when, and this is like, I'm not making this up. Like this is a legitimate story. Mm-hmm. His mom took us to the park, and this is like when I was probably in 2nd grade, I think. And he had like this obsession with wanting to have a cast on his arm because, you know, everybody would sign your cast. Mm-hmm. And so every time, and this is how you knew it was deliberate, mm-hmm. But every time that he would be on the monkey bars or something, he would fall off and like be like, oh my God, my arm is broken.
Oh,
but
wow.
So his mom took us to the park one time and he fell off and like fell on his arm and it was broken. He was like, oh my God, I think my arm's broken. And like, you could see like, you know, the bone, this is like 2nd grade. You could see the bone, like kind of protruding, like, yeah. you know how it looks. And I was like, holy crap. Like this kid just basically broke his arm so he could get a cast. I did not, like, true story. But anyways, it was like the old school monkey bars used to not have like the slip resistant stuff on it, you know. They were just like metal. They were completely like, it was like polished aluminum or something. I don't know. But yeah.
I heard you. That's a crazy story. I Googled this shit, right? And it didn't pick up the word at all. So either they're called like a roundabout, or I remember them as merry-go-rounds.
Yeah, merry-go-round.
But Google that shit and you won't see nothing. So I don't think they're really back into play now.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like it's from the 80s.
Yeah. Because I Googled it, and the only thing that picks up is carousels. And yeah, they go for like 10 grand, the best ones, but I don't see any of them in the parks. They don't come up on images. It's like here and there. Otherwise, you would think you would see them like every other picture or a bunch of pictures. Yeah, they're 80s apparently, because it says story. Here's a Reddit on it, and they're talking about it's from the 80s. What the fuck, man? They don't even make these no more. Let me see here. StreamYard, present, share screen, share. This shit, like this was when them kids, man, when they spun this shit, game over,
dude. Especially if you had like the big kid, you know, that got held back a grade, and they're out there like, oh, let me spin that for you guys, and you're like, oh god.
Yeah, it's torture if it goes too fast, man.
Yeah, that feeling of the inertia just like sucking you to the edge of that thing, and you know, it's like,
well, that and like, see, this one's a big one, right? So you see how they have like a safety bar like on the edge here. The ones I remember, it was just a skinny the arm bar was just, that was it. So you would fly off of that sucker because there was nothing to stop you from flying off.
Even then, though, like the feeling of the inertia, if you had a kid who was spinning it fast enough, it was like, I mean, it felt like you were gonna like, you know, slip through it.
Oh yeah, it was scary. It's like going too high up on on the swings. People do some crazy shit. Let's see here. We'll go back to the thing I was on here. Let's see, share this tab. All right. This person said, number 13. It was normal for an entire household to share a single phone number. Well, yeah. I still have to this day my childhood phone number just to keep it.
Three-way calling. Remember three-way calling?
I do, but that was like a rare thing. I don't think we really utilized it.
No, I mean, well, yeah, I didn't ever use three-way calling until I was in like high school. I was like midway through high school, and I like begged my mom to get the three-way calling, because, you know, it was like, it used to be like you would add things on, like call waiting. You wouldn't just get call waiting, like you had to add on call waiting.
Call waiting changed the game, but the real one that changed the game, star 69.
Yeah, star 69 and star 67.
Who remembers? You had to call the fucking operator for half your shit, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, can you please give me the number to XYZ? And then they will actually forward
411. What's the 411?
Yeah, right, 411. And it, you know, you had the 411 and you had the operator. Man. Oh, and then for half your shit, payphones. You know, if you really needed to make that call without tying up the phone, I would go across the street to the wasn't a gas station, but it was like a quick stop. Use the payphones outside. One thing I've experienced that I don't think Ginzy will is getting your trick or treat bag snatched from your hand. Man, those errors, man. That's why so that changed a lot because after a while, Malcolm, um, the age limit, I think it was like if you're over 15, you were shunned. Get your big ass home and not come out with the other kids. Because trick or treating used to be like an all age event. Your ass didn't matter. If you're out, you're out. Get candy. Getting your costume ripped and your bag snatched into the 80s was a horrible feeling. Damn. That's why you gotta roll deep.
Different times.
The drinking age was 18 back in my day, but you could walk into a bar at 16 and order a drink. Nobody really cared. Yeah, nobody really cared. Depending on where you are, it's the same thing, but a lot of the local cops come down heavy now. It's a thing still if you're in the military. Down in, don't quote me too much, but I recall when I was in Bliss, the drinking age on the base was 18.
Yeah.
And
that used to be a thing.
Because I remember since the Mexico border was so close, they just, pretty much waived it for on base because it's like, why would we want our troops to cross to another country just to drink? And, it was a weird thing, but that was the thing.
Right.
And then overseas, you follow local ordinances. So if it's 18 and, in a different U.S. territory or country, you could drink at that age.
Yeah, most of the overseas ones are like you can drink at 18 or whatever. Because I remember that. Well, at least they used to be. I don't know if they've changed that now, like if it's different now.
I think it's a weird standard. If you find it acceptable to sign up to get shot and killed, and then not be able to have your first drink, it's a little awkward to me.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, the other thing is too,
but it's necessary.
They're all
These
drinking. They all drink. Yeah, they all drink at the barracks. They all have their moments. And then the people who don't do it responsibly, they end up getting in trouble for it. Like, it's not like if you fuck up when you're drunk or whatever, it's not like that anybody just gets away with it because they're in the military. Like, you still get hammered, Yeah. That's why you have like those people who've been in for like 6 years and they're still a PFC.
Or you get them fuckers who get away with it. I know a guy who had 3 DUIs, still got awarded his Bronze Stars, and then on his second and third DUI, he made the paper back to back because he did his drink driving, got arrested, then did it right after his initial arrest.
Oh yeah, if you hit the blotter, you're screwed.
And oh man, it's crazy what stays off the blotter too.
Yeah, well, it's different now. When did you get out?
2016.
Oh yeah, it's not.
I mean, I wrote the blotter
years before me, but yeah. No, I mean, like the blotter was like, it was like, maybe it was just because where I was at, I was closer to San Diego. Mm-hmm. So it was like, I mean, if it wasn't difficult for something to hit the blotter out there, but that's why you would always tell your troop, like, keep it at your level, like whatever happens, keep it at your level, unless it's like somebody's going to die, and so unless it was like a car accident or like a major police related incident, and sometimes you'd even have those cops who would be cool and call the command and, kind of be like, hey, I got this guy, he's drunk in public or whatever, but he's being cooperative. Like,
come pick his ass up.
Yeah, come pick him up. But yeah, I mean, so it just depends on the situation, I guess. But we had like a bunch of, when I was getting out, it was like a bunch of sergeant major hitting the blotter for like different things. And I was like, dude, what is going on with these guys? Like, too close to retirement, been in too long. Like, what is the deal, man? But they were all getting busted for like different things, like, SA and um, drunk driving and stuff like that.
Right. Malcolm asks, can I ask you guys if you had a parent that served in the military? Were they strict with you? I had a friend that had to move out as soon as he hit 18, and it was rough for him. So, almost every single person in my family also served. And what you see and hear a lot of the times is a hyped up like play where it's kind of like automatically giving honor to every Vietnam veteran, or same with where I worked. And some people did stuff, some people didn't, and it's okay. But to answer your question, no. My mom was like that to my sister for no fucking good reason. But I don't plan on being like that. I think it's stupid to just go around kicking your children out, because it's not what other people do that have equity. The reason why a lot of these people are well off is because of their parents before them. So why would you, gouge a full rent from your child or whatever when they could be saving? Because imagine if they had no plans to actually move out, right? And you let you let them save, and they got a couple $100,000 on them to help, with fixing up the house or something. Let them do that. You don't have to bleed them dry. It makes no sense to me to fuck over your family like that. I'm not one for kicking out my children. They would have to be a complete deadbeat,
right?
To do that. If they're actively working or bettering themselves, I am not in any rush. I pretty much now come to the conclusion where I'd rather be a family person in that sense, because here's the deal. And for me, guys, who's going to take care of your ass when you're old? Who you got? And if you don't want that, then kick them out. I don't want to get moved into a nursing home, so I don't plan on kicking my children out just to kick them out. If they're actively going to school, bettering themselves, working, having some type of career or whatever. Now they're just doing the retirement bit where they're not making money or bringing something in, then no, you got to go.
Yeah.
But as long as you are on an act schooling, bettering yourself, whatever, then I have no plans on making you struggle for no good fucking reason. And I think okay.
I was just gonna say, especially in today's like economy, like it's not realistic to have your kid move out at 18. Like, I get it, and I understand like the principle behind the idea, but the reality of it is that it's not. It's just like the environment is not. They're not going to be able to sustain themselves. Like, it's just they're not going to be able to do it. Like, some very few might be able to or might have the capacity to do that, but I don't think it's a realistic expectation. I do think it's important to set expectations for your kids, like, you need to have a job, like you need to be going to school, and our kids especially, like they get VA grants and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's like there's no reason why you shouldn't be going to school. And people will say like, oh well, you don't need to go to college to be successful, and that's true, but going to college just makes you it gives you more wisdom, more time to mature, and an opportunity to learn something. Even if you don't use it, which you don't have to, you still took the time to get that degree. And so that's something that I talk to my kids about, and I'm like school may not be the best thing for you, but it will be one of the best things to have in your back pocket, even if you find something that you want to do that's totally unrelated to what your major is or whatever.
Also, if you're in a field like yourself, Malcolm, that everybody's kind of the same, you know, you join, either you're on the beat or not on the beat, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I pulled over 25 people yesterday and gave them, 18 tickets. Well, the other guy did the same thing. You're the same. Now, promotion's coming up. Why are you better? Why are you better? And guess what ends up putting somebody over the top? Education. Either that be a class, a certificate, a college degree. Boom. And it's the same with pay raises, promotions, like I said. So you're going, if you want to compete, you got to have a degree or be prepared. You know, you can go and do 30 years of whatever you're doing, retire, get your money, and then you go off to get another job. You're back at square one, and all because you didn't have a degree to compete. You're going to be right there with them 20-year-olds working over you, and they're not going to care your past history. But yeah, I think a lot of these cats use their military backgrounds too much as an excuse for being too anal on things. Like, you know, my dad was a Vietnam era vet, and why is he a jackass? You know, nobody taught him to be a jackass. You know, but yeah, I think it's just a lot of, for me. If I'm picking up what you're putting down, sounds like a lot of stress, and they're not managing their stressors, which could probably almost be abusive. All right.
Yeah, I feel like that would be pretty difficult to do, like to just kick your kid out, unless, you know, like
people
you said,
do it
like
though.
there's like some reason, you know, like they're for whatever reason, which would suck, you know, if it's that out of your control, they're hooked on drugs or something like that, and you can't help them, or, you know, they're doing some criminal stuff. Like, I feel like it would just be extreme. You know, the reasoning would have to be so extreme.
Now, if this kid is pulling the whole, I'm 18, I do what I want and don't want to contribute to the chores, or kind of being told what to do to a respectful degree as the adolescents in the family still, then yeah, you get your ass on out of here. You know, if I told my 19-year-old child who doesn't want to take out the garbage, you know, and he wants the back talk, then yeah, you can get the fuck on out, man. You know, I can't, you're an adult, yes, I can't tell you what to do. Okay, get out. Until then, you're going to be a productive member of the household. That's the way I feel. I think that's reasonable. Nothing changes too much. But I think if you raise your kid right, they shouldn't be retaliating on you too much. I know everybody's different though. But number 15, people used to actually write letters, put a stamp on them, and mail them to their friends and relatives. Yeah, it's old school. You know what's crazy is I got my grandma a Facebook, Facebook portal, just so the family can keep up. Church is like online and stuff now, and things have changed. As a kid, I would write letters to my school friends over the summer break just to tell them how my summer was going.
Yo, did you hear about the shooting at that church in Texas?
Mm-mm.
Dude, there was like a shooting at a church in Texas,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know who it was, but some guy was talking about it, you know, on the news or whatever, and he's like, "We all come here to worship, you know, to gather together to watch the football game at church, and then somebody come up here shooting everybody up." And I'm like, dude, is this full serious right now? Like, you guys went to church to watch the football game. And I'm like, I'm not judging. This is just my outside perspective. Like, one, why the fuck are you at church, a place that's supposed to be a holy, sacred place of worship where you gather together to give praise to your God, right? So I'm like, why are you there watching a football game, first of all? And then Secondly, they're making this big spectacle out of it. This guy's out here like preaching away, like saying all this stuff about, somebody coming up here where we get watching the football game and be boop boop. And I'm like, bruh. I'm like, first cardinal sin. You were at church watching a football game.
Now I got to see this Texas church shooting football. Let me see if I can find this. Suspect kill. Raw sounds here.
I don't even know if anybody was like hurt or what happened. I mean, that's all I heard though, was this guy was like yammering away about it.
Oh, woman in a trench coat. Wait, I found him. Oh wait, no, I didn't. I just saw a guy in a cowboy hat saying Texas church shooting hero. But that was 6 years ago. Wait, no, 4 years ago. 6 years. Oh, yeah, these are old. Cowards. But yeah, I noticed
leaves two injured. Hold on.
I noticed with a lot of these churches, some of them are really, really
Houston
modernized. I would, like they're more of like a hangout spot.
Yeah. Than
they are of like my family church is very.
Here, I got a link. I'm gonna
boring and old school. And yeah, TV like that wouldn't be permitted. Let me see here. Instagram.
I mean, like you can do whatever you want. I'm just thinking from like to me, what seems like a logical.
You can do whatever you want, but not mine.
Which is like why at a place where you're supposed to be, as the Christians say, giving praise to God.
Did you put it in the chat?
Oh, yeah, I did.
I'm looking at the wrong chat. Let's see here. Private chat. Which chat? I don't see shit.
Your chat. You probably have to approve it because I don't have a wrench.
YouTube. Malcolm, you see it?
Well, it's called, if you look it up, it's called Joel Osteen's Mega Church.
Joel Osteen's Mega Church.
Shooting.
And then the interview's there?
I don't know if the interview is, but you should see a bunch of things come up.
A bunch of stuff there. All right, let me go back to this real quick. That's crazy. But yeah, mine is like really, really old school to the point where I think once the elders are no longer around, I don't know what's going to happen anymore, because it's just too old school. They're not going to change. But finish this up. It says, as kids, I would write letters to my schools over the summer. They would write back. I still remember when stamps went from 18 cents to 20 cents. Hell yeah. And my grandma complained about how outrageous that was today. A first class.
I remember stamps being like 10 cents.
Yeah, I swore it was like 15. And I only mail Christmas cards and thank you notes nowadays. Look at that stamp. $1 or $1. Good Lord. If you misbehaved in school, the teacher could and would dish out some corporal punishment. I had a couple of teachers who absolutely loved punishing kids with big wooden paddles. That depended on the state. But yeah, I heard about those. But yeah, let some lady put their hands on my child. I don't give a fuck. Ain't happening. I'm gonna catch a case.
Right. Malcolm says conservative versus inspirational televangelist churches. And I mean, and again, like, I'm not judging. I'm just thinking from the perspective of, if your sole purpose of going to church is to focus your soul energy upward to God and give that praise to God, right? Which this is, I'm speaking from a spiritual point of view.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
focusing on a football game is like, it's like, I'd like, that to me is like
right.
the opposite
That's
of
what he's
that.
saying. The inspirational television churches, that's what they do. There's one
Right.
church that my son went to with his friend. It
It's
wasn't
very
like
odd.
no church at all. They had arcade machines up in that bitch, 2-story like building, like it was an isolated building, and it was like the best youth center I ever seen around, and it's a
Yeah.
super mega church. And I'm like, good Lord. And it was like going to the mall when you went there. And then you got my old school one where it's opera singing, and yeah, we're talking,
You know when
ancient
they're
era
passing
shit.
the tithe, when they're passing the tithe bowl around, they got like someone standing next to the person walking around with the tithe bowl who's giving you like the eyeball if you don't put enough money in there.
Oh yeah, back in the era of people believed you had to give a certain percentage
Yeah.
to the
Like,
church.
Did you tithe?
Yeah, like none of your business.
It's more of a, Torrent Virus says it's more of a community thing than worship. Yeah. And again, like, I'm totally not judging. I'm thinking about it from my outside perspective. And I don't like, if for anybody who's watching this who does go to those kind of churches or anything, like, don't take it that way. That's just how my brain works. I think like the aspect of the community thing, like Mensa, you saying a minute ago, like that one church being like a youth center, you know what? In some places that might be like the best thing that they have to offer, as far as like, keeping kids off the streets or giving kids an opportunity to.
I understand what you're thinking, but this was like a gentrified, well-to-do church. Yeah, I can understand if this was like the urban center for boys and girls kind of bit, but I'm telling you, it don't matter. Like, mine's so conservative, the real true conservative, where say they did a Halloween event or whatever like that, there's no hint at supernatural crap. You're coming there dressed like Superman or something, because it ain't going down. Women don't get to be in charge. You got the women. It's weird, because I asked my grandma this. I said, how is it that like I come home from school and basically the women are the bosses, like big mama and mama whatever, and all these mamas, titles, and they run the show.
Yeah.
But then you go to church and they like back of the bus.
Women are Sigma, dude. Like, women should be in charge in society. Like, they're very Sigma, and that's one of the things that.
But it depends on the culture.
Yeah. No. If you're talking about from a worldly view, it does depend on the culture. But what I'm saying is if you look at the way that the world has been run, and you look at where you look, who's in power?
Silver.
Who's the face of most things? Like, it's usually a man who's in power.
Hey Terry, put on your video if you want to come on. Well, Sheline gets a pass because I know her.
So I don't know. But I think, like, if churches are going to do stuff like that, and again, this is just my outside perspective, and I grew up in a very religious environment, like Seventh-day Adventist. If churches are going to do that, they should keep it separate. Like, you have a separate center that's run by or funded by the church, where you have group gatherings like that and stuff like that. But I don't think it's that you should mix those two things or make exceptions to your spiritual subsets of rules that you have. Like, it's just very strange.
Right. Like my family, old church, they will, it's literal interpretations. There's no workaround. There's no, this is my opinion. Thanks to, and it's weird because these are all people of like education and stuff. So they'll talk about it like on the side,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then they'll give you a full historical. Like my mom is the one who taught me critical thinking and to question every little bloody thing and this and this and this and that. And then at the same time, they'll sit there and double down, triple down on shit. And this is like, this is not what you taught me how to be. You know,
Yeah.
You literally raised me like an agnostic. You sit there. But hey, I appreciate her making me still, you know, reading shit. I think that's what got it for me when I was at my family church, is that they'll sit there and it was always the same speech. Let's read this specific verse every single time. And
Yeah.
then, you know, eventually I got bored and started reading everything. And I go, well, what about this? What about that? And it's like, you ever had it to where even probably you did it to your kids or something like that, where they ask you a math question and you just don't fucking know it, so you get aggravated? Yeah, that's them. Yeah, that's them.
I would say, like, you know,
Yes.
that society needs like a wider. I think that there's just a lot of miseducation. I mean, go look at the CIA's website and then dig into some of the documents that they have in there, like from the 80s, you know, like the Bob Monroe Institute and stuff like that. And these are declassified CIA documents that are telling you essentially what reality is built on, how it works, and the mechanics of your brain's function with it, like all the scientific aspects of it. And, you know, you start to connect the dots and see that things aren't all what you thought they were, what they seem to be. But I think that that's a very difficult thing for people to look at and accept sometimes, or even to relate back to their current situation, like with their fundamental belief systems. You know, it's like this shield that people put up around themselves, like this belief system. And so when, you know, it's very difficult for people to let go of a mindset and see something different, even if it is completely provable and true. You know what I mean?
I think it's like they're lost into this thing where, damn, my life was a lie kind of thing. And they just, they're, I forgot the wording, but their psyches ends up getting fucked with because it's like a mind blown situation. Cognitive dissonance, you know, they don't want to prove themselves. Like one example, I got into an argument with my sister. I said, well, you know, they don't say XYZ in the Bible. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I'm like, no, they don't. Like, show it to me. Here's the book. Here's Google. Here's the whole translation. Google it, word search it. It's just not hard to do. You know, show it to me. Well, I can't do that. I'm like, look, like, I'm not, like, we're grown people. You're not stupid. You know, you don't have to debate something that you know is not true, because you have the resources there. You can easily prove me wrong, since you're a steward in you know what you read, right? And they couldn't. Of course they couldn't, because it's just not true. And that's the dogma and the stipulations that they get into, is that they learn that they believed in something that wasn't necessarily fact. Now, I'm not saying that the belief system is 100% wrong or anything like that. What I'm getting at is the factoid about a word being used, and it's just not there, not even in, you know, for nothing. And they got mad at it. And I was like, well, you know, if you want to go this route, since you're a woman, you know, let's quote the Bible, you know, women should remain silent, you know, sorry, you don't have authority. And, you know, and I don't believe in that crap, you know, as far as disrespecting somebody to say that kind of stuff. But my point was, you know, this is what you believe in, then why aren't you following it? You know, why are you telling me, the man, that when your husband's sitting right next to you, shouldn't he be the one talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, and that's where I try to make them figure out, oh shit, maybe this isn't for me. And that's why I was, I would talk to my grandmother, who's older, wiser, that is an authority figure in my life. And like, why did, the ladies, subject themselves to this? And it's an interesting livelihood, to witness.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like, it just seems to me like the way that society is run is very unbalanced. And if you think of the like fundamental kind of the intrinsic thing that is male about males, like when you have guys who are very high up in power, a lot of times they tend to be leaning towards the narcissistic side, right? Very like egotistical and stuff like that. And then, when you have all this money and power, and you can basically have all this stuff at your fingertips, obviously you're gonna be a gatekeeper, and I think that there's a lot of that going on. And so I think that that from an outside perspective, like, to me, a lot of the politics is about the gatekeeping and about keeping a certain narrative about how things should be done or what should be allowed or shouldn't be allowed. And a lot of the times the women are just pushed to the side, like they're not respected. But I think that naturally women have more of a sigmatic ability to be matriarchal, to be leaders. But it's that if it's like you put them down and push them aside for so long, over time, you can train anybody to think a certain type of way or to think that they're not supposed to be like that, but I think it's with women that they are, like, they really are supposed to be.
I just watched this one, this kind of sort of documentary. I think it's like 4 women, and one of the women that took over as a tribal leader, and for good reason, because they're the ones that are like bringing this dead tribe from pretty much, I wouldn't necessarily call it genocide, but extinction. It's it's like an isolated tribe in one of the South America regions. And since the women are of native descent, they are procreating to keep the line going.
Yeah.
And they're also based self leaders, but a lot of the men had an issue with it, and they held fast, like, like, what are you gonna do about it? Because at this point, our civilization is dying, and we're the ones keeping it going. So they're
Right.
the ones that are being proactive, fighting for the rights, for the government, and leading the tribal,
Like, look at
elders
it
on
this way.
issues.
Men, the likelihood of men surviving without women, like, I'm talking about like just on like a 1-to-1 scale. A man surviving without a woman is less likely, way less likely, in my opinion, than a woman surviving without a man. Like, women are stronger in that respect. They can keep going. Like, men have kind of this emotional tie to women because why? Who birthed men?
Mm-hmm.
Who birthed man?
Um,
Their mother, a woman.
God.
So yeah. So I mean, like, you know what I'm saying, though? Like, and so women have like this strength, this ability to carry on and to just live and survive, whereas
Very produced asexually, right?
well, no, I'm saying, like, on a 1-to-1 scale, if you think about it, which then you can apply that to a bigger scale. But I'm just saying they have more of a survival capability than men do, because men kind of have this emotional crutch of being attached to a woman because woman birthed man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an observation.
It's the science factoid. It's I was, why are men attracted to X, Y, and Z on women, and it has nothing to do with necessarily just the fact that this person's attractive. It ends up going all the way back to their moms and shit like that, because the natural, nature's funny. How did birds fly? Because there was an animal that jumped high, and then eventually it evolved to have wings so it can, stay higher in the air, and then eventually it just started gliding, and then eventually it took off. Same thing, about nature in general. It all comes back to mostly women, but clearly somewhere down the line, somebody was teaching somebody that somebody else was feeble.
Right. Well, isn't that the great illusion?
I would watch some shows, and I think it was 90 Day Fiance, and lady married an Indian guy. And it's called Over There because my wife watches it. So she went to India, and the mother-in-law, man, she did the whole traditional man whatever, but who was the true backbone? The mom, right? This lady was beefcake. I mean, she was like yoga mat strong. I mean, she could like lift a cow, like she did all the heavy lifting, so you could tell she had the muscles, and and the dad is like super skinny, smokes, but she can lift like hay barrels type shit. It was just interesting to see.
Well, dude, look at the home arcade.
Damn.
Look at even the home arcade. Here's a perfect example. What do you see guys saying all the time in the home arcade? Oh, I want to get more arcades, but my wife said, or my wife doesn't want, like, yeah, who's really running shit,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
and so it's like, there's also that aspect to it. Like, and even,
in the end, if you want pussy, you do what she says. And I don't understand how they like Beyonce says, women run the world.
But that's the thing. I mean, even if you objectify women, like it's still like, what I was saying, like I think that men are the weaker one. Like they may be stronger physically in most respects, but mentally and emotionally, I think that they're weaker and that they rely on women.
He's talking about the. Oh, I know what you're talking about. The other one. Oh man. Talking about the one with the string torrent. He stuck a string down the nose with like some type of oil, hemp seed oil or some shit. And then they were able to grab the string and then like.
Oh no.
But these people stayed in shape. Now that was a different Indian couple of the one that I'm talking about. But yeah, man, now you got me wanting to look her up. Who's here? 90 Day Fiance Indian.
Hey, you know what I was thinking?
Oh, I found her. Yeah, what's up? I'm listening.
We should have wait, hold on a second. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm. All right, while she finds that, let me finish this up. Let's see here.
Okay, I was saying we should have like an online seminar about how to use Google and show people how easy it is to use Google to look up information about anything,
anything and anybody.
Yeah, like if you post your name or something like that, like then all somebody else has to do is go on Google and type it in there.
Let me see if I can do it right now.
Oh my God. All right. I got to get off in like 18 minutes because I got to start this freaking paper.
Right. All right, let me finish this up then. All right. We are on phone numbers. Phone numbers were memorized and there was no speed dial, caller ID, or voicemail. I still remember my phone number, home number, and my best friend's number from over 50 years ago. Same here.
Oh
I
yeah.
have at least 5 to 7 numbers memorized in my head from the 80s. Kids could leave home and people didn't bat an eye. Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't imagine letting my son do what I did. Not my youngest.
No.
No way in hell. No way in hell. Same thing with being online. Like he has a phone. I let him do his phone. I try to not, invade whatever, but I do my checks when I need to, right? Because he's still a kid, and I told him that because I asked him. I said, "How many other kids actually have phones like you do?" He says, "Actually, not many, believe it or not. As far as their parents not checking up on them 24/7 on it." So I've been
my oldest she's turning 14 in a couple months, and she only has a flip phone.
For me, what I did for is he has a cheap smartphone, but I have Google Family, so nothing can get done without my approval. So like he'll text me and be like, "Hey, I need to download this app for school," and then he'll send me a notification, and then I can restrict app times and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And I told my son, I said, it sucks honestly to be you in this era, because back when I was growing up, I wouldn't have found out about half your homework until after the fact, so it's too late. But I know immediately as soon as his homework is posted. If he's failing some way somehow, it is 1000% my fault, because they got something called Aspen, and it posts like Facebook. Boom, this is the score. This is the score.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you didn't do X, Y, Z. You better, make them finish it up or whatever.
Oh, sorry. I'll be right back.
Kids could leave home and people didn't bat an eye, except for when I didn't come home on time. My dad would whoop the shit out of me, especially because my grandma didn't tell him where I was going. That sucked. My grandfather was 8 when he left home and made it his way into the world. He had no education and worked jobs for people, and no one ever questioned why an 8-year-old was alone. He signed up for World War II when he was 17 because no one checked for identification. I don't know about all that, but yeah. House in the same area had to share a telephone party line. Man, that happened to me. I remember you would get on the phone and you can hear other people's convos and shit. Lines were crossed, or party lines, they would call them. I remember that you couldn't know the sex of your kid until the baby was born. Yeah, so that's a thing still, actually. The insurance does not cover to identify the sex of your child. What it is that they cover to do an ultrasound for the health of your child. And unofficially, the ultrasound tech will let you know the sex of the child. I remember my mom's friend would hold a necklace with a weight over the woman's belly. They thought you could tell the sex by the whether the necklace swung up or down or back and forth. Crazy. In the 50s, the milkman would come through our always unlocked back door and put milk straight in our refrigerator. The story of the milkman. On the evening news, every night, they would show the doomsday clock. It's an analog clock that when it hits midnight, it meant we would be in nuclear war. It was usually very close to midnight, like 5 minutes before. Imagine having the very real threat of nuclear war looming over your head every single day. I mean, it is. There were telephones everywhere, street shops, sidewalk corners, etc. And you paid for your call with coins. Facts. And then the last one, how many more? Yep, last one. Cigarette machines were pretty much everywhere. New Wave toys. As long as you put the money in, you can get a pack of smoke, no matter what age you were. Never seen these on the streets, though. Lastly, my adult children and all their friends didn't believe me when I first told them that married women weren't allowed to have a credit card in their own name until 1974. Before that, women could only have a card through their husband. That's insane. Yeah, the white lady on the 90 Days Fiance. Let me see if I can find the couple here. So her name is Kimberly and Tajasi. Let me see here. Tajasi's mother. This lady. Tajasi's mother. 90 days. They show her off.
Okay, I'm back.
I just went through the rest of it. I was trying to find the 90 Day Fiance's mom. That lady was arms were butched out.
Dude, can we talk about something gaming related for a minute? Because I want to see what you think about this.
Yeah.
Okay. You know the whole thing with Xbox and everybody's like, oh, Xbox is going to stop making consoles. Like that's what they think. Xbox is going to stop making consoles or whatever. I'm thinking like Phil Spencer just said, allegedly he said to his employees, they're not going to stop making consoles. But here's my thoughts on this. There is no reason why it would make sense for Xbox not to make consoles, because if you think about it, take the Xbox One S, for example. I mean, those things are about $250 to $300, right? You're not going to get a gaming PC for $250 to $300. And that console is a solid little gaming console for what it is, like current gen. And so I like the idea that people are going around, you know, saying Xbox is going to stop making consoles. Like, I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but I'm saying it seems highly unlikely to me based off the fact that Microsoft holds a huge share of the market for gaming, not to mention that all of their backwards compatibility and the library of Xbox games and indie games that they have in their online storefront. With all of that stuff, whether it translates to PC or not, it doesn't matter. I'm saying there's still a wanted platform for people who've only been console gamers. So the idea to me that they're going to stop making consoles, it doesn't make any sense. So, you know, I think so. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it, but I was curious what you think about it.
That's an interesting take. I can see why they would say that, but at the same time, it's way too soon. Now, if I think it depends on the climate of how much people are willing to go cloud gaming only, you know, because what Microsoft pretty much owns the whole PC platform, right?
Right.
And I just don't see them giving up a medium, because right now people are real simple. We want plug and play. I don't want to buy a $3,000 computer. You know, I'd rather spend it for a $500 console,
right,
you know, and have something plug and play, either put my disc in it or download, install, and have that medium be enough power that we got labels making games for it. I just don't see that going away. And then if they do, PCs will have to come down to the point where they're now making PC gaming consoles where it's more plug and play. Because I just don't see it, like you said. But if somebody was to stop first, I would vote that it's Xbox, because they have more to. They will win, because what Sony have as far as mediums are concerned, they don't have a big outreach like Xbox does. Microsoft runs that show.
Right. I mean, Sony's even their secondary digital platform, you know, is for Windows PCs. Like I mean, is that thing even still active? The PlayStation, what is it? You used to be able to play PlayStation games on your PC. God, I forget what it's called.
If there is, then I've never seen it. Like as far like it can't be active.
Yeah.
So
No, not with the console though. Like this is like it was a separate app that they created for Windows.
on
And
PS3, the Linux
no,
stuff.
no.
Oh
And
shit!
you could play like PS4 games and I think some PS3
Are
games.
you talking about the
I,
cloud gaming service one? The PlayStation Remote Play?
mm, no, it's not remote play. But I put a link in the chat with the Forbes article about Phil Spencer. And yeah, I mean, anyways, to me, it wouldn't make sense like for them to stop, even if it's not like they're not producing them in the same way. Like I couldn't see them ever not making a console unless they like combine forces with another entity like Sony or Nintendo or something like that.
Right. Just like PlayStation did in the past when they were going to make or Sony was going to make their Nintendo product. So Forbes, the one I pulled up, Phil Spencer promises employees they won't stop making Xbox consoles.
Right.
In the wake of the soaring rumors about changes, journalist Shannon reports that there was a town hall. Employees that they were not getting out the console hardware market and would continue to make Xboxes going forward. How do you even get to the place where you have to ensure? The concern was that if Microsoft is essentially going third party, that would mean little reason to keep making Xbox hardware, which is already being outsold by the PlayStation 5 at a 2-to-1 ratio, which is I find interesting because I swore during this whole Activision thing, even though PlayStation is selling great, they're losing like the money war apparently, like hard. Apparently, from what I was seeing from the bankruptcy stuff, PlayStation was relying almost like 80% on Call of Duty microtransactions to fund their shit. It was weird.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, so I don't think I'm just talking like strategically, you know, when I'm talking about like Microsoft not
PlayStation
making
Now
consoles like they're that's it. There's no way that they're gonna stop, you know, and Sony, the only leg up that they have and the only reason that they're selling more consoles is because they have games like Spider-Man 2, you know, and all these other titles that are really good games like Horizon 2,
God of War.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the incentive to buy a PS5 for gamers because those are good games. They're games that people want to play, you know. And
Gran
most
Turismo
of them
is the PlayStation. Horizon's Xbox.
Yeah, and they have a lot of those titles that are completely exclusive, while some of them may come out on PC years later. Like what was it? Horizon eventually came out on PC. I think Horizon 2 will eventually. But
I think they just did their like one of their first PC PlayStation drops at the same time, which is apparently rare. I think it was Helldivers, and they outsold Power World, which apparently is a big hit right now.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see where it's all going, but like, you know, and it's funny that there's still this fandom, like this fan war stuff that's starting to, you know, bring back the old SNES, you know, Nintendo versus Genesis thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, it's ironic because, you know, when you look at the reality of the situation and the marketing and everything, it doesn't point to what all these people are spewing out on YouTube and all these other outlets.
Exactly. It's a good pivot too, because speaking of fandom, I saw a YouTube post, clearly an alt account, but they tried to make it so that, long story short, they brought up YouTubers. Clearly, we know the YouTubers, the major like 5, and that's who they were hinting at. And they're talking about pinball and crying about how basically trying to gatekeep about it, saying that why are they all going to pinball and can't afford pinball and this and that. And I just find it awkward that there has to be some type of thing where because you can or can't afford it, it's not a good topic or something that can't be fun for somebody else that can. You know, it's like you said, the whole Nintendo versus Genesis bit. That was mainly due to people who couldn't afford both. I preferred
Right.
my Nintendo. I didn't own a Genesis. That's why I preferred it. Because I never owned one. But let me tell you, I had a bloody fun on the Genesis when I would go to my cousin's house.
Right.
You know, Mortal Kombat on the Genesis versus the Super Nintendo. Come on, give me a break. Mortal Kombat on the Genesis all day. It had the blood code, but at the same token, I didn't own one. Never owned the Genesis. And I think that's the same thing that's happening with all this weird stuff. Had a friend, he posted something that was a little off to me, writing about how he noticed during that football game, the guy's brother was wearing the other team's jersey. And he's like, it just felt wrong to me. And I'm like, what world do you live in where a grown man can't wear another jersey?
Yeah.
You know,
well,
like
it's funny because that's what I was gonna say. Like,
and his thing was because the other guy, I guess it was a brother, and he plays for another team. And it's like, okay, say I'm a sports guy and I'm the quarterback of the Redskins. Why can't my favorite team be, the Miami Dolphins? Like, what world do you live in where your favorite team has to be the one you play for?
Yeah,
that makes no sense. Like, that doesn't mean you can't root for the other guy or whatever.
Yeah.
You're still good at your job, right? Go win them Super Bowls. And
that's the thing about sports too, is like, if you think about it, like sports is set up in a way to where it doesn't, people do, but it turns people against each other,
right,
over fandom. And I'm like, how are we, middle-aged people who still are in this mindset of you versus me, or my team versus yours? That team doesn't give a shit about you.
Exactly.
They don't give two shits about you. Yes. Why are you so emotionally invested in them? These companies don't give a shit about you.
No.
But like, these people are so emotionally invested, man. And it's like, it's an ego thing. I think it's an affordability thing. Absolutely. Like the whole like you said, like, if you can't afford it or whatever, or if, whatever the case is, it's like jealousy is what it really comes down to. It's
just jealousy.
And it's like, dude, you're in your 40s, bro, and you're still getting jealous and butthurt about what people are saying about something that you do or whatever. Like, why the fuck do you care? Like, people are going to come online, they're going to have their opinions, and I'm not gonna invest my emotions into these like opinions and stuff like that about products. Like, give me a break, bro. Like,
I mean, the only one I've been able to see that could own what they want is like Michael Jackson. There was a documentary interview with him where he was going around to malls, and the journalist was just hating. And I'm gonna exaggerate a little, but the guy with Michael Jackson walk up and there'll be like just painting on the wall, not the greatest looking. Where he's like, "Oh, I like that." Person will be like, $1 million. He's like, "I want it," and just take it, right? And then that guy was like, "Well, why'd you grab that?" Blah 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 blah. And Michael was like, pretty much ignoring him, like, "Cause I can." like
yeah,
I know. Yeah. He just like, "It looks pretty. I want it." Like, he's a grown ass man. Who are you to question what he can and can't?
Right.
But he was hating, so you could tell he was hating so bad. It was like, this man is not allowed to own things because I don't own it. So,
right.
So he was like questioning him about his purchases and what he, like what he should and shouldn't. It was interesting, but that's what these people do, to the point where they're jealous, their room looks better, and then they comment on hate. And instead of getting what you would think you would get as grown people, hey man, that's a cool ass game room. Like your guest you had on, he what's his name? Twisted
Chris, yeah,
Twisted Chris. Okay, he I've seen some of his YouTube intros or whatever, and he's got like this store looking thing going on in his house. That's pretty freaking cool. But the issue would be now someone coming along and be like, Then why'd you got a star in his house? And blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Grown ass man, he can. Wish I
Right.
had a
Right.
store in my house. That's
Oh,
all
yeah.
it's coming down
Or
to.
why do you spend all your money on that? Like
'Cause you
it's
can.
none of your goddamn business.
Yeah.
Like, why do you care so much?
Yeah.
And Torrent Virus says
fucking 'em?
tribalism
Yeah.
is disgusting in every aspect of life. And I agree.
Yes.
I hate tribalism. I hate this clan mentality that people have. And when I say clan, I mean clan. Like, people
Mhm.
get this clan mentality. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. If you're part of the clan mentality, you're there. And
Absolutely.
it's like this hate driven, jealousy driven thing. And it's like, God damn, how old are you, man? Like,
Yeah.
that's what, like, that's what's aggravating to me, is how can you be so unintelligent? How can you be so thoughtless and be so material things that, like, you're literally jealous about what this other person has or is doing? And there's nothing we can do to stop it or change it. Like, you can't change people like that, because they're so set in their ways, or they're super narcissistic or whatever it is. It's crazy. It's like this crazy conundrum. And it's like, man, I mean, I couldn't imagine being this age that I am now, and being that close-minded and that, like, unintellectual, I guess, about things. And, like, wow, it's just,
yeah. You would think that ended when they grew up and got a check, but maybe that check just ain't good enough still. All I knew is when I was growing up, Toys R Us kid era, I'm gonna live through my kids. My ass be in the toy aisle. I don't give a fuck. I'm a grown man, do what I want. And that's what I think a lot of this is too, is making up for stuff that we couldn't have.
sure, yeah.
But that's what's fun about being an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And finding like-minded people. Get the posters going on, and watch my cartoons when I want and how I want, and play my video games, and have this nostalgia going on and reliving your childhood. That's what's awesome about this stuff. But then yet when you make it, it's like this on YouTube. It's just this pounding chest shit. I had one guy, I was playing a video game, right? And I went to the YouTube spot where I saw the video game being played. And the guy did a build review on one of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And you just see this person going, that's not the best build, and blah, 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 and I won't burn you too much. And I wrote to the guy, I said, what kind of, I think he's a grown man. Like, you're not winning by coming to this guy's YouTube channel and putting your nut sacks on the table just to say that his build is not better than your build. Who gives a fuck? Like,
but you can't
enjoy it or
win.
move on. Like,
you can't win with these guys, though.
Like
that's the thing. No matter what you say to them, it's like, and you think about this too. I mean, I think about this. Like, it's like you want to say something, and then you're like, no, there's no point, because that they're gonna either, like, snap back at you because they feel like they're being attacked or whatever. And you can't share your opinion with people like that, and there's really no point to anyways, because all you're going to do is agitate them. And it's like Torrent Virus says, I'd rather be a lone wolf than a blind ass sheep. And I think that with content creation, there are some, and I'm not applying this to all, but there are a few content creators who just are very manipulative, and they want to lead their audience in a certain direction, rather than saying to their audience, do your own research. This is what I came up with, or this is my opinion on this, but do your own research and find out for yourself. Check out other content creators, whatever. And I think that's how content creators should be. Like, they should be kind of, I don't want to say passive, but they should be like, here are these other options. Be mindful of these things. This is my take on it. This is one person's take on it. And this is from the research that I've done. But there are other people who have also done research and have a different take. So
Right.
I don't think that content creators should be afraid to do that, because do you want an audience that is just a bunch of sheep? I mean, you're always
Right.
going to have people who trust you when you're doing content creation, which is fine. It's good. But, always put that out there, and you don't want to
think for yourself.
Right.
I'm
Right.
glad you respect me enough to value my opinion, but that's all it is. It's an opinion. No one, no one's the end all be all.
Or
anything.
whatever, factual evidence you present. But
right.
The point is just like, don't be afraid to put that in front of people, and it's like, I don't know. It's a very strange thing, but it is very, it can be cultish and it can be very tribal or clannish.
Absolutely. Malcolm says, speaking of cartoons, when is the X-Men 97 debuting? I heard rumors that it's 3D cell shaded and not the original animation. Well, I don't know. As far as the cell shading, it'll depend how it's animated. Not all cell shading is bad. I mean, I don't want it I want it to look the same, but I don't want it 97's quality because that drawing era isn't better than now. So it's okay for things to advance. Now, I did see why a lot of people were mad. And I would say by a lot of people, I'm talking about grown men who can't hentai off of jerking off over butt cheeks and, D-sized boobs, because one of the bigger ones was not being able to sexualize Rogue. Looks like Rogue still to me, but the boobs aren't all like super enhanced in a silk top.
See,
why
that's it. Why
that's
are
all
we
they're
doing
mad
that?
That's all they're mad about.
Why are we doing that though? Like, why is that so important? Like, why is society like, oh, don't sexualize these characters, like desexualize them? It's like, but this is the way that these characters were made,
Right.
and it's part of the design of what comic books are, which is fantasy. I mean, comic books have always been an adventure fantasy type thing. And in many ways, it's the same thing with video games and stuff, and I get, like, if you have a character idea in your head and you put it out that way, but taking these old characters and trying to redesign them and desexualize them, like, why?
I don't think they were desexualized. I don't think they were just sexualized enough, if that makes sense.
Well,
because the character, like, if I was to see the character straight up, I don't see an issue. But the guys who were critiquing were the ones that were like, this is not, their complaint was it's not hentai enough, in the sense that I'll just let everyone look at it themselves.
It's not hentai enough.
Yeah, I'm exaggerating, but they wanted more sexual. Let's see here. One was the one I said, Rogue, right?
Rogue, yeah.
97 versus Cell Shade. Let's see if I can find it. X-Men.
All I remember, Rogue always had really big boobies and a nice butt and red hair with the white, streak.
I mean, other than the Rogue of she took Mrs. Marvel's power, Rogue ain't shit. Because prior to that, she wasn't used to taking. She wasn't like the mainstay in like your comics. Let's see here. Now Bishop. Not Bishop.
Oh, that was a great
Gambit. Yeah, Gambit.
Love triangle though, like her
Gambit.
and Logan and Jean Grey and
oh man.
And speaking of which, Logan was like the best. It was such a good movie. Oh my god, I literally cried.
Okay, I think I found it. View page. All right, so this isn't going to be the new one, but no, it wouldn't be a fair example because I'm looking at 92 and then the 97. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the one that's called, okay, yeah, this is the comparison. All right. Presents, share screen, X-Men 97. Because it came out in like 92, right? That's what's called 97. So here's Rogue. That's it.
Well, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So they're saying she needs to have like
Yeah.
E-size boobs or something.
Correct.
Her boobs still look big to me.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's not hentai enough.
Weird.
Yeah. I mean, and trust me when I say they, meaning you read those comments and it's craziness. Woke shit, stuff like that. Just like, what? Like, where are we going with this, guys? It's just a cartoon.
People are all over the place, man.
Yeah.
They don't know what they want.
No.
They're just like, and how many people see things like the whole sheep thing? How many people see things and then get in that clan mindset,
And it was the same thing with the Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. Looks natural, looks normal. And because it wasn't sexualized enough with the, unrealistic slimness and shit like that, it's just bad drawing or whatever. And it's funny because in the video game, they actually hint on it. Like they had her outfit. And she's like, nah, like I ain't gonna wear that shit. So it's pretty cool that they actually played to the backlash in the video game. Because there's one where I'm getting the name wrong, Deadshot or whatever the fuck he's called in the game. One of the characters goes, I thought it said, isn't Deadshot white? Because they made him black for this multiverse stuff, and
I just think
since
like
Will Smith. But it was just funny that they talked about it in the game.
Yeah,
I was like,
I just think it's weird to me that people want to control like the way that people are creating things. If somebody wants to create a big titty, busty cleavage action hero chick, or emphasize that, like, who cares? Like the fans should rarely influence the creative aspect of things. The only example that is a good one is like the whole Sonic fiasco.
Oh yeah, they had to
like that is
one.
like
That
the
was
one
garbage.
The one time where that I can think of off the top of my head where it was like, okay, this is fair. But like the rest of like with the sexuality and stuff like that, like who cares? Like like just let these people create. And the problem is though is that now these people are creating towards the they're starting to listen to the fans too much, and then that it takes away from the originality of the content.
Check this out.
It takes away their creative rights in a sense.
Look at Deadpool, right? So people were, because you see Deadpool, he just his brain is wonky, right? So he'll take it there to the point where it's like, damn, is this dude pansexual? It doesn't fucking really matter, right? Like it's Deadpool, he's just there. Deadpool does Deadpool things, whatever. So you see this one, it was on Twitter. And the crowd was LGBTQ, whatever, and they're like, Deadpool's, queer, blah, 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 blah. So either way, they took the questionnaire to the actual, like, OG original creator. And he said he's none and all the above at the same time. And they're like, well, what do you mean? He says, because his brain is, like, trash. So he's everything at the same time. You can't put a label on the character. So then they started attacking him. Like, you're just blah, 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 blah. I'm like, how the fuck are you going to tell the guy who came up with the whole concept what his character is?
You can't
like,
win.
He's the guy who canonizes what is Deadpool. And you're going to sit there and argue with him?
Let me explain it to you. No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah.
Like no, and you can't win, dude. It's
Yeah.
like
He's everything. He's like his brain is fried. You want him gay? He's gay. He's straight. Doesn't fucking matter. He's fucking Deadpool.
yeah.
He's in a constant state of brain damage and repair, and that's what he was saying. But they cussed him out and called him a phobic, and it's like the guy who brings the person you were praising for representation. Now all of a sudden he's a bad guy. It was weird.
But that's the thing though. Like it's like these fans, they're not really fans,
No,
man, because fans would never turn on the create.
You would appreciate what he brought to the
exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so there's no logic behind the behavior that these people, exhibit. And it's like, this is what I don't understand about society and the whole clan mentality and all that is it's like, dude, there's no logic to the way that you guys are behaving. There's no logical thought process. There's really no integrity.
None.
It's just, it's a very, very, it's unnerving.
Very. And it's not, you just think to yourself, is this reality? And over what? A hand-drawn picture.
Yeah.
But if I had an original thought and I put that original thought on paper, and then a comic book bought my original thought and canonized it and made it part of their universe to the point where now we're in cinema, who are you to fucking tell me what my intent was? You imagine like if people like the constitutional folks who wrote it were around and they go, that's not what you meant. Like, what? I wrote it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird.
At least wait till the guy dies before you say what his intent was, right? But the guy's well alive. This is at first glance, Gambit also seems to have barely changed. But if you look at the legs from 92, Gambit was some crazy long lower legs. I think the 97 shins are more realistically. And that's what I'm saying. Like, symmetrically and whatnot, I think this, like, when I first saw this poster, I didn't see a difference. I thought everything was spot on, right? But then people started doing the comparisons. And going, this is not my rope. And I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. They're still freaking huge juggers. Wolverine looks good. I think Rogue is more accurate, but for age. Storm's still looking good. I don't think there's any concealing that. Smaller boots. Have you? Let's see here. Her mentality up. Did you disappear on me? If you're talking, Sheila, I can't hear you anymore. Have you seen the clip?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Have you seen the clips of Disney writers for Marvel movies where they say they have never read a comic book and Disney told them not to? Okay, so I have not, but let's think about it rationally. A lot of times they don't want them to because they want originality. Okay, they now own, not everything translates to live action. That's just a fact, man. If we try to put half the stuff down in comp, you would lose an audience. Do you want at least a decent movie to come out where it's so popular that you're going to get a sequel, et cetera, or do you just want to lose the audience altogether because we're freaking comic book nerds and it can't?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Disney cares about that, and that's part of the thing. Like, I don't really care for Disney. I think that they're very corporate, like schematic, and they want to create things that people are going to watch. And the thing is, with the generation that exists now, they're trying to create a fan base based off of that generation and be able to sell to them for a long time to come. So
Well,
to
you
me,
got
it's
to.
a psychological thing, and it's a capitalist thing, and you know what they're doing, what all these people are doing, what all these companies are doing, is they're producing, you know, shit, spending millions of dollars to make movies, and then we just go like herds to the movie theaters to watch this garbage.
But like they said,
And
Marvel killed the action hero. When you go to see a Marvel movie, you're not going to see Robert Downey. You're going to see Iron Man. It don't matter who play him. You're going to go see that character. You know what I mean? And they killed it.
yeah, Mensa, I'm really sorry, but I've got to hop off because I do have to write this really huge paper today.
I gotta go
But
soon too.
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming by.
And y'all in the chat, take care. All
Also,
right, peace out.
Peace. Also, whoever tried to come through earlier, I'm not gonna just let your ass on so you could be some fucking troll or some shit. You come on, show your face, and you can come through. Or I gotta know know you're legit, and then you can come through. But yeah, you got to be vetted. You just can't randomly pop up. But the invite's there for people who do want to come through. But yeah, everyone's got different takes on it. Reason why I believe in it is because I think so far Disney has put out good Marvel content. I don't think it's all bad. And if you could tell when people aren't actual current comic readers. Example, Falcon being Captain America. He's been Captain America since like 2014. You know, we're almost talking like 10 years now. And now you just figured this out. So now there's an issue with him being Captain America. That to me means you're not a fucking comic book reader. You know, you might have been when you're a kid, but you aren't relevant with it. So my point is, if these characters have changed for almost 20 years, you know, or 15 years, I think it's okay to give us what we needed, what we wanted. The shit started in like 2008. So all the oldies got their shit. Now the characters have evolved or moved on. And now the new generation gets their stuff. We're heading into our 40s and 50s, and you're getting people who are just starting to turn 20, and, you know, and they're going to need their cinema stay, right? So then now these people who are going to turn 20 are going to have their 10 to 15 year journey with Disney as well. So it's okay to move on and move past stories. Your story was told already. That's my whole thing. Are you talking about Samoa Joe as I haven't seen Twisted Metal, but Samoa Joe as Candy Tooth or whatever the fuck his name is? Disney fell off when they lost Capcom. Huh. It should fall somewhere in the middle. Their agenda at times is always an agenda. The product quality has suffered lately. Huh. By Jay, that dude was in Twisted. That dude was fired in Twisted Metal. Yes. Sweet Tooth, that's it. Sugar Rush, I don't know. It sounds like an old man now, right? Oh man. But yeah, now pivot. Let me pull up another slide. Presents. Stop. Present. Share screen. We are going to go to. Bam! Yo, my man slapped the snot out of Cody. He said, you talk about my family or his family, you talking about my family. You talk about his ancestors, talking about my ancestors. Now we have a problem. Hill Rock came out, slapped the snot out of Cody Rhodes. I'm here for it. What are y'all's prediction? My prediction is The Rock if they do fight, he won't win. Cody will get the championship, if not this year, next year. A friend of mine had pivot to that Cody might be the unifier of the titles. So that would be interesting. So an actual true world heavyweight champion versus, because you got the SmackDown title and you got the Raw title, but I think we can all agree that Roman Reigns holds the title, which is on SmackDown. And but I think that shit probably needs to go, and they need a unifying title to finally make it all one. I do think Cody deserves to be the one who dethrones Roman Reigns. I know Rock isn't getting any younger, but clearly he has to be there to cover for Vince McMahon. But I don't think it was necessary. I think Cody could have handled this on his own. Cody has changed the era. There was a video of Cody coming out for his first time fighting Randy Orton with his father, and he came out in this classic no shirt, green spandex crap and boots. And someone said they used to call him Default because he looked like the default character you would choose in a video game. He says, I think that match is either going to be a triple threat or a fatal four. I don't think it should be, but so be it. But if anyone wins, it better be Cody, man. If not this year, next year. But this was a weird pivot. I think they were smart. I think what happened was The Rock was supposed to be there to cover, and everybody was supposed to go all, face Rock. But he got a lot of backlash, and they changed it on the last moment. He read the room. He was getting booed, and they brought out heel Rock, which was a smart move, and I'm here for it. They would say triple, but we can't ignore the fact that Seth Rollins doesn't have nobody. Who's he supposed to play or fight against? Yeah, that's the thing. The Rock. I think The Rock's going to turn on Roman. So we get the heel Rock, fan service, and then by the end of WrestleMania, we get face Rock. I thought he had the title run record forever. Yes, Default. Let me see if I can find this picture. See, Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton first match. Called his ass Default. Of course not. I said Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes first match. Randy Orton. Where is he? Oh, they won't show it. Randy, Google. Cody Rhodes first WWE match. There it is. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and skip. Let's see if I can do this without. There we go. Share screen. Share this tab. Right here. Here's the default character. This dude's got no style. What the fuck? This is his debut. the Rock move was to distract from the McMahon shit. Absolutely. Yeah, he there's the only reason he's there. Vince McMahon fucking up. I think there's still a Hogan one to beat. Don't forget another big angle that gives tremendous heel heat is that Damian cashes in at the end of the WrestleMania on Cody. Ooh, oh, yeah, because if he doesn't cash in by April, he loses it all. So he has to cash in. Oh, you think he'll cash in on Seth? He's going to cash in on Seth. Seth is going to lose it to Damian. Damian's going to have his run. That's probably what's going to happen. I don't think he's going to lose it to Cody because right now Damian's on Raw, right? And the Roman Reigns title is on SmackDown. So I think he will cash in on whoever beats Seth. That's my opinion. They're going to give Damian his run probably for like a year. And then by the next go around, he'll lose it. But I think Damian definitely deserves it. But you know what would be... So here's the theory. There's nothing in the... Remember when they swapped it out? There's no contract in the suitcase. Imagine that. He goes into cashing in and there's nothing to cash in. Yes, to Seth. I think that may happen, and he'll have his betrayal from Judgment Day, and then we'll see. I don't think we'll see a face Damian, but we'll get that turn from Damian. I want to see personally what they finished doing with R-Truth. Now that man deserves a story to finish. But yeah, Cody has come a long way. I think it's smart by doing the whole bleach hair thing. He's doing the All-American bit. A lot better than, what was it, Starboy, Stardust, or whatever the fuck he was doing. I mean, he played that up. He did his job. Good for him. But yeah, I think Cody Rhodes has to be one of the biggest turnarounds as characters. But thank you guys for tuning in. This was last second, off the cuff. Just want to show my face. Still here, still doing content. Hope to bring you guys something better, more complete later. Get a show going. Get my man Prince to come through. Do a bigger show, commentary show. But unless anyone got any questions or whatever, ask me anything. I'll be bouncing. Yeah, I pray they do something with R-Truth. They try to make that man into a joke, and he's been making it into gold. So he's been doing his job. He deserves recognition. The guy's like 51 or 52 now. It's crazy. And he seems to be what he plays on camera from the interviews, that he's actually genuinely just a good dude, which is pretty cool. I've been watching this story unfold thanks to WWE on YouTube, watching all the older stuff that I missed out on while I was in the service and whatnot. No problem, man. Thank you for coming by and spending time with me. I think I'll plug it for now, and everyone have a great day. Goodbye.